Welcome to Season 2 of Thread Talks. I'm Kadesh Handy. I'm an industrial designer at Twinery. Today we are joined by Nishali Pereira, who leads Circularity here at MAS. Hi, Nishali.
Hello, Kadesh.
To start off, let's answer this question. What is circularity?
Okay, so circularity is about designing and manufacturing clothes that can be used for longer and can be at the end of life reused, repurposed, or recycled back to clothes. So it's about creating closed loops where material stays in play for longer rather than ending up in landfill or incineration.
So tell us, why is circularity this important?
So the fashion industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world, more polluting than the aviation or maritime industries combined. And if you take the amount of greenhouse gases that the fashion industry emits, that's more than Germany, UK, France as entire countries combined. And we are on a trajectory that's very unsustainable. In 2017, Ellen MacArthur Foundation published a piece of research highlighting how detrimental the fashion industry is. And a couple of things that they highlighted. One was that 97% of the resources used in the fashion industry are virgin materials. That's materials used from the earth, not recycled materials. And then we manufacture about 40 to 50 million tons of product each year. That's a massive quantity of product, right? And in 3 to 5 years, all of this product just ends up in landfill or incineration. And what we're trying to do with circularity is to try to put a stop to this extremely detrimental take, make, waste business model and move to a circular business model, which is about using materials over and over again in a closed loop or without taking resources from the earth and then dumping it in landfill or incineration within a few years.
So you mentioned using materials again once they've reached the end of their life cycle.
Absolutely.
And most of us understand the value of what it means to own a piece of clothing or use a piece of clothing for longer periods of time, make it last. But what does it mean to use or repurpose a material and wear a material that has been used before? Okay,
so I think, Katesh, you being a shoe design, an industrial designer and designing shoes, you might have an appreciation for good design. And what it comes down to is really good design at the start of the clothes manufacturing process. So clothes have to be designed in a way that it can be recycled, it can be dismantled and recycled at end of life. People think recycling clothes is easy, that you just kind of dump it in a recycling bin somewhere and it gets recycled. It does not. To be able to recycle clothes that are made to be made again, you have to think about it at the design and manufacturing stage. Design clothes in a way that it can be recycled or repurposed. Also use materials in making the product that it can be recycled at end of life. So made to be made again is making clothes that can be repurposed, reused, recycled at end of life to make new clothes. So hopefully the shirt that you're wearing today can be turned into a new shirt in 3 to 5 years when you're done with it.
And unlike many hard good products and consumer products, which are 1 or 2 material compounds, the apparel industry uses multiple different types of materials and compounds in footwear, in apparel, in close-to-body knits. How does that relate to the model of circularity of dividing all these materials apart rather than just chucking it in a recycle bin like you mentioned?
So I think you touched on a very important point, because the fact that we use so many different types of materials, so many different components, it makes recycling so much more difficult. So people have to be very conscious of the composition of the garment. So if, for example, if a garment contains too much spandex, we love spandex because it makes the clothes fit right, but when it comes to recycling, spandex makes it really difficult to recycle the product. So we need to really start thinking about the composition of the garment. We need to start thinking about the different components, maybe reducing the components at that design and manufacturing stage, so that we keep thinking about how can we use this garment for longer, how can we give it a second, third life, how can we repurpose it, how can we repair it. And if once we've done all of those things, that's when we go into recycling. And landfill and incineration should never be an option.
And you mentioned like taking the the step at the design stage when you're formulating the product, when you're prototyping it, or thinking of the product in itself.
Absolutely.
So starting at that level for manufacturers, for producers, like in the industry we work in, that would be more of incorporating that into a business model. But if you look at the side of consumers who are in charge of, or what they do is purchase it, and consumers who want to contribute to the circular model, what role do they play, and how do they contribute their maximum when it comes to ensuring that they're being cognizant of how these materials and how these clothes are being repurposed?
Okay. So consumers have a massive role to play because consumers vote with their wallets, right? So if consumers are demanding that materials are made from sustainable, recyclable materials, then brands would then supply that demand. So consumers definitely have a massive role to play in terms of if they are willing to pay for sustainable product, if they're willing to put dollars behind their words, that's how consumers can make sustainable circular products go further faster. Not only that, consumers should also take responsibility for what they do with the product at the end of life. So are they just going to say, oh, I'm done with this, I wore this t-shirt 5 times and I'm going to throw it away? Or are they going to start making better purchasing decisions, start buying more timeless pieces, not the latest trend, buy pieces that they can wear for longer? Or if they really want to keep up with trends, then look into models like re-commercing. I think Gen Z is really good at this. Older generations don't really like wearing clothes other people have worn, but Gen Z is really open to sharing clothes, renting clothes, re-commercing clothes. So the consumer definitely has a massive part to play, as much as the brand and the manufacturer has their part to play.
And given the role you play here at MAS, could you tell us what MAS's vision is for circularity?
So MAS has a vision for circularity that can maybe be split into 3 parts. First thing we want to do is we want to design and manufacture products using sustainable material with end of life in sight. Second thing we want to do is we want to ensure that 100% of the waste that is generated from our manufacturing process is recycled back to yarn or repurposed in some way, and nothing ends up in landfill or incineration. And the last thing that we want to do is that we want to partner, as I mentioned, with all the other players in the ecosystem to facilitate post-consumer circularity. So it's a broad view of circularity we're taking, and we're looking at attacking this problem of take, make, waste from multiple angles.
It's really exciting and insightful stuff. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. I'm very excited about the work we're doing, so hopefully we'll see some exciting things in the future.
Thanks, Nish.
Thanks.